Hi, this is Dave, and before we get to the show, I wanted to ask you a favor. One of our goals this year is to grow the show so that What Does Star Wars Mean to You reaches more listeners. And that's where we're asking you for help. And it's really easy. Wherever you listen to us, please hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the show, give us a 5-star rating and review on the platform you listen to us. We make a lot of fun of the algorithm and the smash that button thing, but it really does help us get noticed by new fans. And if you want to join in on the conversation, find us on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 in the letter U. Now, let's chat some Star Wars.
Hello there, this is Elora, and I'm a prequel trilogy kid.
And this is Dave, and I'm an original trilogy kid. And you're listening to What Does Star Wars Mean to You? The show where we talk to all kinds of fans of the franchise, from industry insiders to indie artists, from obsessive mythologists to mega collectors, all for one goal, to take the hate out of the debate by focusing on one fan at a time, to find out what does Star Wars mean to you. Plus, it's just fun to chat Star Wars.
It is, we enjoy it. So if you're liking the show, please subscribe, and if you really want to help us out, you can give us a 5-star rating. It really helps the show, helps us get found on the searching function of
the algorithms.
The algorithms, thank you for that. 6 p.m. on a Wednesday, and I'm already forgetting my words. This is a good sign for this episode. So don't review this, review the rest of the show.
Yes, don't review the introduction. But give us a 5-star review for the content that's about to come, because it's worth it. And if you want to get in on the conversation, you can join us on the socials at Star Wars Mean to You. That's at Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. So last week, we talked to Cam Ray. He's a comedian, a satirist, and a YouTuber. And we spoke a lot about the role that comedy plays in Star Wars. And in the nearly 50 years of Star Wars being in existence, there have been a ton of Star Wars parodies. From the simple to the full-on movies taking on that galaxy far, far away. Star Wars parodies have been as much of a part of the culture as Star Wars itself. And they could be anything. Comic books, cartoons, songs, movies, video games. I mean, any way you tell a Star Wars story, you can make a Star Wars parody.
So this week we thought it'd be fun to dive into our favorite Star Wars parody. We've each chosen our personal top 3 Star Wars parodies, as well as some honorable mentions. But I think, Dave, you had something before we dig in.
Oh, yes. Before we dig into our top 3, I do think we should give a shout out to the one original Star Wars parody, and that, of course, is Hardware Wars. Now... This came out in 1978 and was a fan film and parody all in one. It was written and directed by Ernie Fosseleas. I think that might be how you pronounce his name. Who was also the
rad name.
It is a rad name. It is a really rad name. He was also the co-creator of 20 original Sesame Street shorts in the early 70s. And he did a ton of stuff. He was like one of the early founding members of Oingo Boingo before they were Oingo Boingo. I forget what the Knights of Oingo Boingo, something like that.
Wow.
And this is my favorite. He did the sobs of the Rancor Keeper in Return of the Jedi when after the Rancor dies and he turns and he goes, he ADR'd the sobs. So he's in the Star Wars world for sure.
Cool life, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool career.
But Hardware Wars featured such characters as Fluke Starbucker, Augie Bin Doggy, Princess Android, Ham Salad, and my favorite, Chuchilla, the Wookiee monster, which was a chewy-colored Cookie Monster puppet. And the whole movie was made with very homemade effects like irons on a string flying through space.
Right.
Last year, we had on author Charlie Jane Anders, and she had seen it before actually seeing Star Wars.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Right? Isn't that crazy? Wouldn't that be a wild way to see? Like,
yeah.
See the parody before seeing the movie? But I'll let her talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, like, my first memories of Star Wars are actually, like, my local public library had a old-timey, like, film projector-y thing that you could borrow. They had a room you could watch stuff in it. And, or, it was like either that or we didn't have VCRs yet. This was like just before VCRs became a thing. And they had a thing called Hardware Wars, which you could watch that they had just gotten a copy of from somewhere. And it was like a fan-made Star Wars spoof by this guy named Ernie Fossilius. I'm pretty sure the whole thing's on YouTube now. Yeah. It's arguably the first ever Star Wars spoof. And it's extremely silly. Han Solo is named Ham Salad. The type, like everything is like hard. It's like basically housewares, like R2D2 is a vacuum cleaner. Like the TIE fighters are like pieces of toast shot out of a toaster. It's just, it's extremely silly.
I seem to remember there was an iron as a spaceship.
Yeah, there was.
I could be wrong about that.
No, there was. There was an iron.
Yeah.
And like my favorite part is when like Princess Leia is captured by whatever they call Darth Nader, I think is what they called him. And Darth Nader is like he's kind of just making noises. He's like, and she's like, I don't know what you're saying. He's like, and then he points to a basketball, and she's like, no, basketball's a peaceful world. We have no weapons. And then he like presses a button and the basketball blows up, and she's like, no, basketball. And like it was extremely silly. And like I watched that like 100 times, like because you can just watch it as many times as you want to. We didn't have a VCR in my house yet. I know I saw the original Star Wars at some point, but I saw that like many, many, many times.
That's so wild. I can't imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is Hardware Wars is said to be George Lucas's favorite of the parodies. But having said that, let's talk about some of the honorable mentions.
Yes. We wanted to kind of just, like, there was Robot Chicken.
Yes.
Which I believe you're a little bit more familiar with than I am.
Yeah. Robot Chicken, it's actually from the creators of Twist and Mego Theater, which was inside the magazine Toy Fair, like late 90s, early 2000s. And Seth Green, they got together and created a stop animation toy show. And I think one of their best is the Star Wars parodies, where they're just like a rapid fire doing different Star Wars parodies. Very funny.
Prior to us doing research for this episode, I'm pretty sure the only Robot Chicken I was familiar with was the Giraffe in Quicksand, because I was at like... I'm pretty sure that was them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Going through the 7 stages of grief or whatever it was. I was at that perfect age. I don't recall the exact year that came out, and this is so not on the topic of Star Wars, but like me and my friends used to just laugh. We thought that was like the funniest thing. Like it just hit that kid brain right at the perfect time.
Yeah.
So that's that. Funny that like Robot Chicken well from Star Wars. I know it well from a giraffe crying in quicksand. I don't know why I find that so humorous.
That's crazy. I can't believe you were watching Robot Chicken that young.
Well, no, I wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Like, I really only had that one reference point because it went viral, and it all like me and my friends, we were like young kids. We just thought it was so funny for some reason, and like it was the only one I was familiar with up until now.
Wow. Well, no, I recommend the Robot Chicken Star Wars parodies. They're really good.
Absolutely. There's Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, of course. It's like
it's the most famous one. Did not make our top 3.
Did not make our top 3. I know you have some thoughts on Spaceballs.
Well, I mean, here's my thing with Spaceballs. Like, I know that, like, as a parody, they're going to intentionally, like, exaggerate characters for comedic effect. Yeah. And they definitely do that. There's a lot of things that you could find cringy now, though. Like, my thing is, I don't feel like a lot of jokes held up to the time. I have a real bone to pick with it because, and I hadn't seen Spaceballs in, I don't even know how many years. I rewatched it to prep for our episode because I was like refamiliarizing myself with all of the various Star Wars parodies.
Yeah. You wanted to see Spaceballs the movie.
Oh yeah, and my husband was so excited. He was like, I used to have this on DVD. I used to watch it all the time. Like we were like, okay. I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen it in like a decade or more. Like, okay, we like sat down to watch Spaceballs. We were so excited about it. And then like halfway through, we kind of looked at each other and we were like, ooh, this is not what we remember. This is not as funny as we recall. And I had a difficult time specifically because like I'm all for a good laugh, like exaggerating truths, like poking fun at like stereotypes a little bit. There's a really like humorous and good way to do that in comedy. And I don't think that we should erase that completely because I think it is good to, make fun of ourselves or to like, that's what comedy's always done is like call out certain things that maybe we should discuss and or think harder about or just laugh at ourselves within.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like just totally disparage it, but my biggest thing was like the stereotypes around Princess Vespa. They have to be funny in order for them to land, and I didn't find them funny. Like they were just too easy, is what I felt like. They were just too like, oh yeah, of course she's got a giant hairdryer, and of course she's got like all of the luggage. It was like stereotype check, and like the jokes weren't really landing for me because you have a character that she's modeled after, which is like Leia, who is just this like leader. She's this participant in the rebellion. She is sexualized in Star Wars, but she's powerful enough to get herself out of like sexualized, situations. Yeah. I mean, she kills Jabba. Like there's
she fends off Han a couple of times.
I feel like they didn't totally erase elements of the characters they were parodying when it came to the male roles. Yes. But they did with the female one. And that's where I had an issue because I thought there might have been a better way to parody her in a way that could have been really funny and could have had like maybe I just thought the jokes were too easy. And they fell flat in 2024, like on their face.
I have not seen Spaceballs in a while. It may have been, a decade. I have found this is I don't know if this will be a popular opinion, but I find Spaceballs is really fun to think about. It's fun to quote. It has really funny moments. But man, when I watch it, I just kind of get bored. I'm like, but I do like, like Michael Winslow. I think it's Michael Winslow is his name, who does all the sound effects. Hysterical. What are you? Chicken Colonel? Is that what it is? The line? That's so funny. Rick Moranis, amazing. Yet when I sit there, I'm like, should we put on something else?
No, I think you're dead on because it's superficial.
Yeah,
a lot of the comedy in it, but it has moments that like we still laughed out loud. But like it kind of, and maybe this is a terrible analogy, but like I was watching it and all I could think about was this is like one giant attempt at like a TikTok trend is how it felt. It was like there were sound bites and like clips within the film that would be like hilarious when clipped out in like a smaller kind of bite-sized format like is popular now. As a whole,
it's meme friendly.
It's thank you. Yes, meme friendly as a whole. The reason it's not in my top 3 is in large part I found the jokes on Princess Vespa to be way too simple, but also everyone had fun. It's actually a really well-made film. That's all true, and you can see it on set, and you can see it comes through in the work. But it's kind of a one and done.
It's kind of one note, and Let's move on then. I think we gave it its due.
We wasted way too much time on that.
Here's one that's kind of my favorite, one of my favorites, but again, not in my top 3. The Muppet Show from, I want to say 1980s with Mark Hamill, C-3PO, R2-D2, and Chewie. It's kind of parody. They have Gonzo playing Darth Vader. And it's just really fun to see Muppets and Star Wars together. It's either the Muppet Show or Jabba's Palace. Muppets and Star Wars goes great together.
That is never a combination I'll complain about.
Yes.
Yeah, enough said. It's just, whoever thought of that, just top tier television.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the best part was they had Mark Hamill and then playing Mark Hamill, and then I think it was supposed to be his brother, I forget now, but they had Luke Skywalker, who was like supposed to be a completely different person, show up. And so that was a lot of fun that they had all those characters. They actually had like the Star Wars world invade the Muppet Show. So that was really cool.
So fun.
So fun.
A nice contrast to Spaceballs.
A nice contrast to Spaceballs. Here's something that's on the I would say on the lines of Spaceballs is Thumb Wars. It was very big in, God, was it 98, 99, maybe early 2000? I should have looked up the date. I didn't.
This is actually, I don't know for certain, but there's something in my gut telling me that Thumb Wars is one of the first videos I ever saw on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's from Steve Odenkirk, and it's, I feel like it was one of the first videos I watched online as well.
Yeah.
It's from 1999, and I don't know. I feel like it's kind of dude humor in a way that just didn't resonate with me. I don't like, they're funny bits, but I also thought the thumbs were ugly to look at, like kind of repulsive. It looked like big toes, and I have an anti-feet thing. I don't know if there's an anti-feet fetish, but yeah, it was very hard for me to watch, I guess.
Yeah, it made you feel uncomfortable.
Yes, it made me feel uncomfortable in ways that I don't want to feel, that I know now I don't want to feel uncomfortable.
And you didn't know before.
Yes, and I didn't know before.
You didn't know you had a foot aversion prior to Thumb Wars.
Well, the thing that is sneaky about Star Wars parody is, like, when I was a kid and would see, like, Spaceballs, like, there was no other Star Wars stuff around. I think Spaceballs came out in 85 or 86. And there's, like, it's been ages since the last Star Wars anything. And so when you see a parody, you're like, you glom onto it. It's like, oh, this is a port in a storm.
Yeah.
And I think Thumb Wars came out right with Phantom Menace, and I don't know. Thumb Wars doesn't really do it for me, but I think it's an honorable mention because I thought it was huge. Like,
it was. I mean, I recall seeing it as a kid. I'll say this, I didn't watch the entirety of it, so like no one on Twitter hold this against me if there's something in there that's like wildly anti-feminist, but like I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. But from what I did like rewatch, I actually felt like they did a better job of like parodying some of those stereotypes without completely demeaning the character. And I liked that about it. Because it was like, for me, like some of the dialogue was just smarter and more, and so that made it funnier for me.
Yes, yeah. I can see that. Yeah. And I did watch a little bit of it too. Wait, did you see the part where Princess Leia was doing her "You're My Only Hope" speech, and both Luke and Ben like slide under to look up her dress?
Well, there was that, yes.
That might be wildly anti-feminism. I don't know.
Yes, but she herself was strong.
Yes, yeah, sure. They were scum.
They were, yes. If anything, that was poking fun at men.
That's true.
I mean, that was calling men out for bad behavior.
But yeah, you're right. It was.
So
Steve
for those reasons,
you're ahead of your time.
For those reasons, it's higher ranked. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Fair enough. Should we jump to our top 3?
Yes. Do you want to explain to the audience how we're doing this? Because it's a little confusing.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. So we both separately came up with our top 3, and then got together and was like, hey, this is my top 3, this is my top 3. And the way it happened was my number 1 was Elora's number 3. So I'm going to start at number 1 and go number 1, 2, and 3. And Elora's going to start at 3 and go 3, 2, 1, so that we can just talk about, my number 1 and number 3 at the same time.
We just want to make like extra certain that you're paying attention, that you're awake, and tracking this conversation. Yeah,
this is like brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand.
Yes, this is a brain teaser. We're here to help. Strengthen those neurons.
There will be a test on Twitter tomorrow. What was Dave's number one? People will be like,
well, what is your number one, Dave? And what's my number three? Do you want to tell them?
Yes. Listen, 1997's Troops.
Yes.
Not just a Star Wars parody, but also a parody of Cops. It was created by Kevin Rubio, who was a promo producer at NBC at the time, I believe. He made it with a bunch of friends. It's a fan film. To me, it's like South Park, one of those early viral videos that's precedes the internet just by years or weeks, where it seemed like everyone knew about it. It takes place on Tatooine, and it follows stormtroopers a la Cops as they do their rounds and run across Jawas and a feuding couple.
All suspects are guilty, period. Otherwise, they wouldn't be suspect now, would they?
Very imperial. And I think what's amazing, and again, this goes back to that idea of like, oh, I want to see the parody because I don't see Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this, like, they had speeder bikes on Tatooine, which like blew my mind. They had an ATST. I think they got the 501st.
So well made. Yeah.
So well made. So especially when you go 1997 on a fan budget. It's amazing.
It's so good. It was such a perfect honestly, it's such a perfect like relic of its time.
Yes.
Because now I feel awful having to say this, but 1997 was a hot minute ago. And it's so fun to watch it. Really, it's so fun to watch it back because it's so nostalgic of the time. Like taking Star Wars and putting it into Cops, which was like, for those of you listening in Gen Z, Cops was like a thing in the 90s.
Yes.
Like in the late 90s. Like
it was like the thing.
It was the show. Like there were promos all the time. Everyone knew the Bad Boys theme song. So it was kind of this like just epic crossover.
Yeah.
Of two things that were really like some of the most popular content of that era.
Yes. What was so amazing is how the Star Wars character fits into the Cops world and how the Cops world fit into the Imperial world. It was almost seamless. And then the genius was, this was the story of the stormtroopers, what they were going through while Ben and Luke were traveling Tatooine, discovering the sandcrawler destroyed, discovering Aunt Beru. This is what happened just before that off screen.
Just prior.
Yes, yeah.
It's so good. And you're so right. The troops plug into the, Cops reality TV universe so perfectly because they're notoriously thought of as bumbling idiots. They are. There's also this like kind of tongue-in-cheek joke too, as to kind of, when police maybe take things too far. Like there's a Jawa murder that they then cover up on the body cams.
Yes.
And then immediately cut to a professional almost press conference about what went down.
Yeah. A very much kind of rehearsed, like, okay, cut the cameras, now bring it up. What we had was just a bit of a disturbance.
Yes. I can't get a sentence out because I'm laughing so hard. But it's just and the details of it too are so good. Like you translating the text from the Star Wars universe language, which name is spacing me right now, to English. Like it's great. And then this like whole exactly what you touched on, this whole concept that like while Luke is missing and the Star Wars world is starting to develop as we know it.
Yes.
Beru and Owen are suffering a domestic dispute. It's just really funny. And it hints at the larger plot that the troopers miss, which is also just chef's kiss.
Yeah. At the very end, they're like, a disturbance in Mos Eisley. And they're like, okay, we'll go deal with that. And it's like,
tomorrow.
It's the droids they're looking for. Yes. But Troops, number 1 for me, number 3 for Elora, highly recommended. I would say we highly recommend all our top 3s.
We really do. Why don't you go and give your top 2?
Oh, yeah.
Your number 2.
So, again, this goes back to like childhood and not having Star Wars anywhere in in the vicinity after Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Weird Al Yankovic's Yoda. It's a parody of the song Lola by the Kinks. And it's from his third album, Dare to be Stupid. It came out in 1985. Oddly enough, he had written the song, I think, in 1980, but couldn't get the rights from the Kinks. And it had a tough time getting the rights from George Lucas. And on a chance meeting with, I guess, the guy who wrote Lola from the Kinks, he asked him, well, why didn't you ever give me the rights? And apparently the writer of Lola never was asked. And so from then on out, Weird Al Yankovic would go directly to the artist as opposed to their representation, which is like, makes sense. But
someone got fired.
I feel like Yoda is one of his best songs, best parodies. It captures the idea of Luke coming from the farming world and being introduced to the Force and not understanding how Yoda is so powerful and his ways, which also mirrors the thematics of the song Lola as well. Mm-hmm. So not only is he parodying, the music and the lyrics, he's also parodying the kind of the thematics, which works really well within the dynamics of Luke and Yoda, and Yoda slowly revealing himself to Luke.
That is the most thoughtful and honestly beautiful interpretation of a Weird Al song I've ever heard.
Weird Al Yankovic, if you study him, he is genius. He really, there's a reason why he's been around for 40, 50 years.
Sure, yeah.
40 years.
No, this is awesome. I had not heard it prior to you telling me about it. I was not even aware of its existence. So thank you for bringing it to my world.
Yes. Yeah. No. 100% worth it. And I also like how he was seeing the future, because he's like, there's a line. You're going to be making these movies until you're old and gray, and it's about Mark Hamill. And you know what? It was true.
He did it.
He did it. So
that's such a good one. Deep cut. There's someone listening to this right now that's like freaking out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. I think like anyone in my age range definitely knows this song.
Sure.
My age range and a Star Wars fan. Like,
that's fair. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people my age who don't know this song. but if you're my age in that cross section of Star Wars fan, the Venn diagram, that little circle definitely has Yoda in it.
Oh, yeah.
What about you? What's your number 2? That was my number 2.
I love that. So my number 2 is a little bit like of a cheat, because at least that's my feeling on the matter, because we did just discuss Rebuilding the Galaxy, but at length. But it is true. Like, Lego Star Wars has been one of my favorite Star Wars parodies, but just like content, period.
Yes.
Especially
100.
the game. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was just thinking, like, I don't know why Lego's not in my top 3. It 100% should be. I think I kind of just made my top 3, and boy, Lego, damn it. Now I'm thinking Lego should be number 1 for me, because I love the Lego things. And you were like, I watched this one episode, and it was really funny. And I kind of remember the episode, and I went to look for it on Disney Plus, and I couldn't find it, but I did find it on YouTube, and I loved the hell out of that episode.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites too. He's talking about the Padawan Menace. I think it's the first one they did.
I think it may be. It looks very early.
I should have done more research. So, fact check me, Twitter. But, it's more than just the series for me and the movies. And, my husband and I'm backtracking a little bit. My husband and I have been such big fans of the Lego Star Wars video game. We own the whole Lego Star Wars, universe on Xbox. And it honestly is something we did a lot during COVID together as well. So, there's also, there's this... it's kind of personal, as I love Lego Star Wars because it's something I shared with my hubby, but it's also just freaking funny. The Padawan Menace is one I definitely hyper focused on because it's the first, and it really established, I think, the comedic timing and like intent and universe of Star Wars Lego.
Yes.
It's such a good way.
It really is. What I love about it is Lego Star Wars loves Star Wars, but they're not afraid to like take the piss out of it a little bit, to really just, call it out for what it is, or play characters against their own type for comedy. Like my favorite moment from sorry, I feel like I'm taking up your
please share.
favorite.
I want to hear it.
But my favorite moments in Star Wars is when Darth Vader is played as a little bit of a kind of a dum-dum or like shat on character, like put down, like a Charlie Brown. They kind of like made Darth Vader the Charlie Brown. And in Padawan Menace, he keeps coming on set trying to be like all Darth Vader and evil. And then George Lucas would come on and be like, Darth, you're not in this scene. Oh, but I really
Lego George Lucas.
Darth. Yeah, Lego George Lucas would be like, Darth, you're not in this scene. We see this scene is between these two characters and it's not you. So come along. Let's come off the set.
And he gets progressively angrier and angrier.
Yes, he gets progressively angrier.
He finally throws Darth Vader off his set.
Yes.
It's such a good payoff at the end. It's so good. There's so much to love about it. There's C-3PO as like a tour guide and he has his little hat and then like, all of the Padawans are practicing on him and he's floating and he's like, you must always be respectful to a droid. We don't like to float. And it's so funny. There's so much of the breaking of the fourth wall, especially with like the Darth Vader stuff. But like the characters also do things like wink at the screen or tell a joke to the audience. And I love stuff like that. I love what you said too about how the creators just like, they really love Star Wars. And I feel like the best parodies of Star Wars come from the people who just love it so much because the jokes land, because they're not, there's no like malice. They're making fun collectively of what they love and what we all love. And like, that's what comedy should do. Like we should be laughing at ourselves.
Absolutely. From that episode on, like if you throw down Lego episode, I'm like, you should watch that. It doesn't matter. Like if it's Lego Adventures or the Freemaker series. Freemakers or it's Freemakers series. I was about to say Freemasons. That'd be a weird Lego Star Wars Freemason series.
I think for a long time. Where's what's his? Oh shoot! I just forgot his name. National Treasure guy.
Nick Cage.
Enter Nicolas Cage.
Lego Nick Cage with a map.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. They are spectacular.
They're so good. To put like a little quick button on it, I love the Lego aesthetic. It adds so much comedy, like when they just like fall apart into pieces and have to be built back together or like whatever it is. It's that with the news stories that they are able to build quite literally, no pun intended, within this universe, especially just even recently. I mean, like Rebuilding the Galaxy just came out and it kind of opened up this whole other storyline and universe. And it's almost going multiverse, like not to make like a Marvel comparison, but
but in a way it is.
Sorry, go on. As opposed to
No. I was just gonna say they don't travel from universe to universe, but it does rebuild the galaxy, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's all this, like, there's elements of nostalgia combined with so much fun and all these new stories. And it's just like, I don't worry about being starved for content, even if it's not in the quote unquote canon universe, in the way that, like, you guys had to be starved for content throughout the entire, 1980s.
Oh, when you're doing a countdown to Caravan of Courage, you know.
I'm sorry, I stepped in. What else did you want to say about Star Wars Legos?
Just Star Wars Legos. You mentioned the stories, which is so true, because I think if you're a super fan of the sequel trilogy, you should be checking out the Star Wars holiday specials, because Star Wars Christmas holiday and Star Wars Halloween holiday specials have like Kylo Ren, Rey, Poe, Finn, and they're interesting, good stories. Where the characters feel like the characters. Now they're Lego versions, and it's played up a little bit, and it's a little, it's for a slightly younger audience, not completely younger audience, but and I think they're really solid stories, told in a fun way.
Yeah. I love that, Rick. Okay, what's your number 3 ranking?
My number 3 ranking, and this is the one that would have been kicked out for Lego Star Wars if I had given it any thought, enough thought. I don't know why. I just felt like, oh, you claimed Lego Star Wars, that's fair. I'm going to do something else. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Okay, so my number 3, Family Guy, Blue Harvest, something Dark Side, and It's a Trap. These are 3 one-hour episodes, each one parodying one of the original trilogy movies. They cast the characters of Family Guy into roles of Star Wars, which worked out really kind of perfectly because Peter plays Han Solo, Lois is Princess Leia, Chris is Luke Skywalker, Brian is Chewbacca, and then Meg always plays one bit side character that shows up. Like in Blue Harvest, she's the thing in the trash compactor. In something Dark Side, she's the space slug. And in It's a Trap, she's the... Oh, what's that thing called in the desert? The Heart of Carcoon. The Sarlacc Pit. She's the Sarlacc Pit in the last one. And just the way they use the characters' personalities to also then play into the characters of Star Wars and be really funny is pretty impressive, a lot of fun, and it feels like the type of parody that Airplane is, which is a direct kind of lift of a type of movie, but then there's all these small throwaway jokes throughout, and it's just works perfectly.
That was really good characters for their characters, too.
Yes, exactly. It was the perfect character for their characters. So it's, I think the Family Guy Star Wars episodes should be well known. Of course, I feel like they were close to the rights because they have the music from Star Wars. They do shot recreations, like when the Falcon's flying towards the Death Star 2, and It's a Trap. It's very much like Return of the Jedi. Yeah. And so it's, again, you can tell they love it because they so painstakingly recreate it, yet they also make so much fun of it. And it's great parody.
That's what you want. Yeah, no, I as those who have been listening for a moment know, cartoons were not my thing. So I never got into Family Guy. So I wasn't familiar with these. But yeah, no, they're pretty good fun.
Yes. And even if you hate Family Guy, if you like Star Wars, you might like the Family Guy Star Wars special.
Yes, yeah. Family Guy is, honestly, it's one of those things it is, but it's so smart and it's so good. And it's one of those things where I'm actually like, I am kind of bummed I missed the train on it because now it's so far down the track. It's like, how do you even catch up? Like, I think they've got like 40 seasons or some shit. Yeah. But I'll just say, thank you for also introducing me to the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy.
Okay, now in our awkward count down and count up, we're down to the last one, and it's your number 1. Shock me.
I think this did shock you.
It did.
My number 1 is The Empire Strips Back. So when I was for my 29th birthday,
I feel like I need to be very, very not concerned, but careful on what I have to add to this conversation.
No, it's really fun. For my 29th birthday, my husband took me to a burlesque show in Los Angeles where we were living at the time. And it was a Star Wars parody burlesque. You've probably heard of it if you're listening to this podcast and you're a Star Wars fan. You may not have, though. Yeah. It is a little obscure. It toured all over the U.S. At the time that we're recording this episode, they're doing an 8-week run in San Francisco that they're claiming is going to be kind of like their...
home base?
Well, their final run. Yeah, like kind of like that. But I think it's going to come back at some point because it's just like... it's been selling out theaters across the nation. It's so much fun.
I'm still waiting for colleges to pick it up in drama class.
Yes. It's everything you would expect from a Star Wars parody burlesque version. There's seductive Boba Fett. There's bikini-clad stormtroopers, which is hilarious because it totally makes fun of like the armor and like, you know, it not being very protective. There's like slutty red guards. Leia and R2-D2 have like a little showmance. There's a whole speeder washing sequence that opened at least our show we saw that was like very old school, like girl at the car wash kind of thing. And it was hilarious. And it was just like, there's so much more. And those listening who are like, wait a minute, you gave Vespa a hard time for having a hairdryer in the desert, but your number one favorite Star Wars parody is women dancing in their underwear. To that, I say, burlesque has never claimed to be highbrow, and it's always been about comedy. This show is all women, minus Chewie. And it's my opinion that burlesque is an art form that really encourages women to like embrace their full selves and to challenge societal norms and express creativity and confidence in a really safe and inclusive and fun way. So I think it's freaking badass. I love it. The show is go for it.
Plus, you know, the royal guards are sexy as hell.
They are. They're, you know, Darth Vader in the show, her greatest asset is her legs. Or greatest weapon. Sorry, her greatest weapon is her legs in the show. It's creative, it's fun, it pokes fun at Star Wars in the way that like only someone who loves it could. And it's just, it playfully tells all the stories with like a lot of humor and a lot of twists on the gender roles. Because again, it's a female-dominated cast. There's so many fun, creative takes on the costumes. Like I mentioned, the stormtroopers, like where they're showing skin in those costumes is like, it pays homage to where stormtroopers tend to like, you know, get blasted
shot
and through their armor and die.
Yes. Is there dialogue in it? Is it, I always imagined that it was all just like music and dancing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons why I actually think it is so genius. It's all movement and music and facial expression. And I might be misremembering. I'm recalling the finale might have had some dialogue between Han and Chewie. So if you've just seen the show and you're like, wait a minute, no, there was a whole scene.
Yeah, please.
I'm kind of vaguely, like let us know. I'm kind of vaguely remembering that, but I just mostly remember. I mean, I was a little drunk, so like, let's be real here. Like, I was out on a date for my birthday.
It's a good way to spend your birthday, though.
It was a really fun date night, so I highly recommend it if that is your scene. You find that fun and you're able to go to it now or to tours in the future. Huge fan of Star Wars burlesque, and I will die on that hill.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's so funny because when I was looking at the outline and I saw The Empire Strips Back, I read it as The Empire Strikes Back, and I was like, that's not a parody. That's source material. And then I saw the rest. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a really fun night. I honestly don't even want to like spoil it. You know, it's so funny because if you look it up, those who have written about it have done so in a really kind of like, conservative is not the right word, but like in a way that like they're not giving it out. Like it's kind of like you have to be there to really kind of get it. So if you haven't seen it and you're listening to this, you're like, okay. I highly recommend.
If you're in San Francisco right now, go see it.
Go see it. And if it comes back around in tours, go see it. And this same company, I will say, I think that they do a lot of these, like parodying various like major franchises or popular films or like, you know, TV and things. They're really good at what they do. And it's so if it's your scene, it's a fun night out. Like if you're also a big Marvel fan, you see that they're touring like Iron Man, I recommend it. Like it's just like, it's great. Yeah. It's a good show no matter what, but it was especially fun that it was Star Wars. Yeah.
I want to see the Spaceballs strips back. Just parody upon original.
Weirdly, I think I would have liked that more. But
it's the old man burlesque show. Spaceballs strips back. It's just
Oh
the
my
thunder
God.
from down under in Spaceballs gear.
Yeah, but this is also coming from the girl that collects Playboys from the 70s, actually legitimately for the articles. So. Oh,
If
man.
you're wondering if she sends me the photos, yes.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yes. No.
Okay, that's my cheeks are red now.
So that's what Star Wars means to us this week.
It is.
If you want to tell, let me start that over. Let me just.
You're just seeing the red guards with like
I am.
cutouts in your mind.
Yeah. They were always my favorite.
Yeah.
So that's what Star Wars means to us this week. If you want to let us know what your favorite parodies are, do so on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U, and get in on the conversation. Like, what do you think of our rankings? Does Family Guy deserve to be in the top 3 of either of ours? And what about Lego and Troops? Have you seen it?
Should it have been my number 1? Because I was flipping,
Yes.
I was flipping Burlesque and Lego back and forth for a while there, yeah.
And then what are your top 3? What are the ones we didn't mention? Like, I thought of, while we were talking, The Great Camino Caper, which is from Patrick Cotnor, who is a producer on the George Lucas Talk Show, did a live reading of the Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace scripts with a bunch of comedians. You can find it on YouTube. Hysterical. And that's kind of a parody because it's literally taking the script and finding the comedy in it. So let us know.
And next week, we're going to speak with Matthew Egan from the Peter Mayhew Foundation. And we really kind of like dove into the importance of storytelling with a purpose and, of course, like what Star Wars means to him. But yeah, you should tune into that, too, because they're doing some pretty cool stuff over there.
It's really spectacular. He's a fun guest, has a lot of stories. But until then, may the Force be with you.
And with you. They did some parody a long time ago of a reality TV show that was associated with an organization I worked for. And it was so funny. I mean, like, oh yeah, they did one on Sea Shepherd. It was hilarious. And I laughed the whole time. And it was all about how the Whale Wars show on Animal Planet was going up against Deadliest Catch. If you remember that show.
Yes.
And the battle for viewing and like ratings and stuff. It was really, really funny. And so I have a love for cut all that out. I just realized it was South Park.
Cut all that out. I just realized it was South Park.
I have the wrong cartoon stick. That might have to stay in as a blooper because that's so funny. I totally
so funny.
Was thinking of something else. Yeah. It was South Park.
It was South Park.
It was South Park.
Hi, this is Dave. And before we get to the show, I wanted to ask you a favor. One of our goals this year is to grow the show so that What Does Star Wars Mean to You reaches more listeners. And that's where we're asking you for help. And it's really easy. Wherever you listen to us, please hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the show, give us a 5-star rating and review on the platform you listen to us. We make a lot of fun of the algorithm and the smash that button thing, but it really does help us get noticed by new fans. And if you want to join in on the conversation, find us on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 in the letter U. Now, let's chat some Star Wars.